Have you ever wondered how to keep food fresh without a refrigerator? In the coming minutes, we're going to explore 11 tried and true methods that can help you do just that. These techniques have been used for centuries across various cultures around the globe, and they're not only practical, but can extend the shelf life of your food significantly. We'll begin with root cellaring, a method perfect for root vegetables. Then, we'll explore drying and dehydrating, a versatile technique that works for a variety of foods. We'll delve into canning, smoking, and salting, 3 methods that have preserved meats long before refrigerators were even a thought. We'll also discuss pickling, fermenting, cool storage, oil packing, sugar curing, and even a nifty trick known as pot-and-pot refrigeration. So, if you're ready to learn how to store food without a fridge, stick around. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more useful tips. Let's dig into our first method, root cellaring. Root cellaring is a practice as old as agriculture itself, harking back to a time when refrigeration was a cool, dark hole in the ground. This method involves storing root vegetables like potatoes, carrots, and beets in a cool, dark, and humid place, such as a root cellar or even a buried container. The chilly and humid environment slows down the decay process, allowing these vegetables to remain fresh for extended periods. It's a simple, cost-effective method that doesn't require any fancy equipment or electricity, making it perfect for off-grid situations. However, there are a couple of drawbacks. Root cellars require specific conditions to work effectively. They need to be dark, cool, and have the right level of humidity. Plus, not all foods are suitable for root cellaring. But if done correctly, root cellaring is an age-old yet effective way to store root vegetables for months. Next on our list is drying or dehydrating. This method is all about removing moisture from food to prevent spoilage. It's ideal for a wide range of foods including fruits, vegetables, meats, and herbs. You're essentially taking the water out of the equation, which is what bacteria need to survive and multiply. Now, there are a few ways you can go about this. Some folks harness the power of natural sunlight, while others might use an oven or a food dehydrator. Each method has its own set of pros and cons. For instance, sun drying is cost-effective and eco-friendly, but it's dependent on good weather. On the other hand, using an oven or a dehydrator gives you more control over the process, but it does require energy. One thing to remember, though, is that drying does alter the texture and sometimes the taste of food. But hey, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Dried fruits make for a sweet, chewy treat and jerky. Well, who doesn't love a good piece of jerky? Drying food is not only a great way to preserve it, but it also makes for some tasty snacks. Now, let's talk about canning. This time-honored method of food preservation involves packing fruits, vegetables, or meats into jars and then heating them to kill off bacteria. The heat also works to create a vacuum seal as the jars cool, preventing any new bacteria from entering. Canning is ideal for a wide variety of foods. From your summer strawberries to the fall harvest of green beans and tomatoes, canning allows you to enjoy these seasonal delights all year round. Meats can also be canned, making this a versatile method for preserving your food without refrigeration. However, it's important to note that canning needs to be done correctly to ensure the food is safe to eat. Incorrect canning can lead to foodborne illnesses, so always follow proper canning guidelines. Despite this, with a little practice, canning can be a great way to preserve your food and reduce waste. Canning is a versatile method that can help you enjoy your garden's bounty long after harvest season. Let's move on to smoking. In the realm of food preservation, smoking has a special place. It's an age-old technique that works exceptionally well for meats and fish. The process is straightforward. You expose the food to smoke from a low heat source. The smoke, rich with compounds, acts as a natural preservative, deterring bacteria and insects. But it's not just about preservation. Smoking also imparts a unique, often desirable flavor to the food, making it a dual-purpose method. However, it's worth noting that smoking requires careful monitoring to maintain the right temperature and smoke levels, making it a bit more hands-on compared to some other methods. And while the smoky flavor is a plus for many, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but when done right, smoking can preserve your food for several weeks or even longer. Smoking not only preserves your food, but also gives it a unique flavor that many enjoy. Next, we have salting. Now, the process of salting is simple, yet effective. It's been used for centuries and is especially suitable for preserving meat and fish. Here's how it works. The meat or fish is generously covered in salt, which draws out the moisture. This lack of moisture creates an environment that's inhospitable to bacteria, thereby preserving the food. The benefits of salting are numerous. It's a relatively easy method requiring minimal tools, and the salted food can last for months without refrigeration. It also adds a unique flavor profile to the food. But like any method, it has its drawbacks. It can make the food too salty for some palates, and you'll need to rinse or soak the food before cooking to remove excess salt. Also, remember that the quality of salt matters. Choose sea salt or kosher salt for the best results. Salting is an ancient preservation method that's still effective today. Now let's dive into pickling, a time-honored technique that brings out the tangy best in your fruits, vegetables, and yes, even eggs. Pickling works by submerging your food in a solution of vinegar or brine. This creates an acidic environment that's not so friendly for bacteria, helping to preserve your food. Some popular pickling choices include cucumbers, of course, but also onions, garlic, carrots, and even hard-boiled eggs. The process not only keeps your food fresh for longer, but it also infuses it with a unique, tangy flavor that's hard to resist. But pickling isn't without its drawbacks. The high salt content in the brine can make pickled foods a less suitable choice for those watching their sodium intake. And the pickling process can soften foods, which may not appeal to everyone's palate. Yet, despite these caveats, pickling is a fantastic way to add some tang to your preserved foods. Next on our list is fermenting. This ancient method of preserving food involves the use of beneficial bacteria, yeasts, or other microorganisms. The process is quite simple, really. When you ferment food, these friendly organisms consume the sugars and starches present, transforming them into lactic acid. This acidic environment is inhospitable to harmful bacteria, effectively preserving the food. You'd find fermentation particularly suitable for a variety of foods, including vegetables, dairy, and even beverages. Think sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt, kefir, and kombucha. But remember, the process does require a bit of patience, as the fermentation can take anywhere from a few days to several weeks. One of the potential drawbacks is that the fermentation process can alter the taste of the food, giving it a tangy or sour flavor. But on the bright side, fermenting not only preserves your food, but also boosts its nutritional value. It enhances the availability of vitamins and minerals in the food, and the live cultures are excellent for gut health. Let's look at cool storage. Now, this method is all about leveraging the naturally cooler areas in your home. We're talking basements, cellars, even a shaded corner. The key here is to find a place with a consistent cool temperature. Cool storage is perfect for certain foods that don't require refrigeration. Think squash, onions, and garlic. These foods can last for months in the right conditions. And the best part? It's incredibly cost-effective. No need for fancy equipment or special containers. Just a cool, dry place in your food items. But like every method, it has its drawbacks. Not every home has a suitable cool storage area, and not all foods are cut out for this method. It's also crucial to monitor your stored food regularly to prevent spoilage. Despite these challenges, cool storage remains a simple and efficient option. It's all about knowing your food, your home, and making the most of what you've got. Cool storage is a simple and cost-effective way to store certain foods. Next, we have oil packing. This method of food preservation has been a staple in many cultures for centuries. Essentially, oil packing involves submerging food in oil to create an anaerobic environment. In this oxygen-free environment, bacteria simply cannot thrive, hence extending the shelf life of your food. Oil packing is particularly suitable for certain foods like cheeses and dried tomatoes. When packed in oil, these foods not only keep fresh for a long period, but they also take on a deliciously rich and intensified flavor from the oil. While there are many advantages to oil packing, it's important to note a couple of potential drawbacks. Firstly, the type of oil used can significantly impact the flavor of the food. Additionally, oil-packed food should be consumed within a reasonable time frame, as oil can become rancid over time. Nevertheless, when done correctly, oil packing can keep your food fresh and flavorful for a long time. Now, let's talk about sugar curing. Sugar curing is a fascinating preservation method that's been around for centuries. It's a process akin to salting, but instead of salt, we're using sugar. The principle is pretty much the same though. By coating the food in sugar, we're drawing out the moisture, creating an environment that's inhospitable to bacteria, thereby preserving the food. This method is particularly suitable for fruits and certain types of meat. It's a favorite with hams, for instance, where the sugar not only helps with preservation, but also imparts a delightful sweet flavor that's hard to resist. For fruits, think jams and jellies, where the sugar acts as a natural preservative. Last but not least, we have pot-and-pot refrigeration, also known as a Zier pot. This ingenious method has been used for centuries, particularly in hot, arid regions. It involves placing a smaller earthenware pot inside a larger one. The space in between is filled with wet sand, and the top is covered. As the water in the sand evaporates, it cools the inner pot. This refrigeration method is most suitable for fruits and vegetables, helping to prolong their freshness. It's a natural, energy-free way to keep food cool, making it a go-to for those living off-grid. However, bear in mind that the effectiveness of this method is influenced by the surrounding temperature and humidity levels. It works best in dry, hot climates and might not be as effective in humid areas. Despite this, pot-and-pot refrigeration is a clever method that uses evaporation to keep your food cool. It's another testament to human ingenuity in food preservation. And there you have it, 11 ways to keep food fresh without a refrigerator. From the cool, damp environment of a root cellar to the sun-drenched drying racks for dehydrating, these methods are as diverse as they are effective. We've explored the time-honored traditions of canning and smoking, along with the ancient arts of salting and pickling. We've delved into the world of beneficial bacteria with fermentation and the cool, quiet corners of your home for storage. We've immersed ourselves in oil packing and the sweet science of sugar curing. And let's not forget the ingenious pot-and-pot refrigeration, a true testament to human creativity. Each method has its unique benefits and potential drawbacks, but all share one common goal: preserving food without the need for modern refrigeration. Remember, with a little knowledge and creativity, you can preserve food safely without a fridge. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more helpful tips. Until next time, happy preserving.